Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Jonnychipz Weekly. My name is John Lunn, aka Jonnychipz, and it is Friday, the 14th of October, 2022. It's time for episode number 92, Ignite. It's all about Microsoft Ignite. So, hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. It is a Friday lunchtime here in the UK at the moment. Hope you've had a fantastic week at work or whatever you've been up to this week. And going into the weekend, we can hopefully, for the majority of people, we can put our feet up. So, apologies if you are working this weekend. Have a good one all the same. But anyhow, Microsoft Ignite has been kicking off globally, effectively, in a hybrid digital fashion around the world. We've had a number of things going on this week. I think this week's episode is going to be focused around the goings on around Microsoft Ignite, and I think we're going to be pretty much focused in that area. So without further ado, let's jump on over. We'll do a few little community call outs, but fundamentally, we're all about Ignite this episode. So yes, day two today on Friday, the 14th of October, up in the UK spotlight. So this year, Microsoft Ignite has gone to a bit of a hybrid digital event. So essentially, you did have the option that you could go out to Seattle, where there was a 2 or 3 day event, going on in-person event, but it was also a hybrid event, a digital event. So there were a lot of sessions being streamed out. They're available on the My Ignite website there. You can put them in your backpack. You can watch sessions later. But I think fundamentally it was to try and bring back that element of networking. So what Microsoft also did then is they had a number of regional spotlight events around the world. So, the likes of Paris, UK, there were certain parts of the world, I believe, down in South America. There were spotlight events kicking off around the world where local developers and IT pros could get together and kind of highlight some of the key announcements, as well as, some of the elements that customers or businesses have used, the likes of 365 and Azure, to kind of benefit themselves and their own businesses. So I managed to catch a fair whack of the content yesterday from the UK Spotlight, which was great. Like I say, day two is on right now. You can probably, if you're watching this when this goes out at lunchtime, you can probably catch the last few hours of today's session. But you can see, quite a lot of attendees. That's the main stage area, I believe, up in Manchester, where it's been held in the UK. Lots going on up there. Great to see so many familiar faces from the community out going to the event. Being hosted this year by Layla and April, smashing the hosting kind of duties. There they are. They're talking with Adam about the Cloud Skills challenges that they've got going on around Ignite. Absolutely smashing it out of the park. It's great to see the kind of variety that they've got, because they've invited MVPs, they've got customers, they've got a lot of different people up there talking about how they've deployed or consume services from Microsoft, as well as kind of intersplicing with these kind of sofa elements to the show. But in fairness, they've been working their behinds off. I think there's a lot of conversations being had so far. So looking forward to getting stuck into those as well again today. There we go. There's my dog Luna taking part, watching Satya's keynote, which managed to catch when it went out the day before yesterday. Refreshed it yesterday. As always, Satya knows how to hold a good keynote session, and it was really, insightful to see how we've kind of come on this journey. It sounds almost cultish, but being an IT pro, working in the industry for a long time, there are a certain level of values and beliefs that you have with kind of technology, and where technology is going, and what you can use technology to do for your own consumer ends or business to kind of get things sorted for business outcomes and business needs. And the way that Satya delivers the keynotes is essentially, it is this journey where we're kind of all being called to arms. Originally, it was around this kind of whole aspect of digital transformation and empowering everybody on the planet to achieve more, was kind of the bootstrap message from Microsoft, where the overlying the overrunning message from Satya this time was about perseverance. So we've come through difficult times in such that COVID has kind of hit the world for six, essentially, and it's put businesses, a lot of businesses have gone bust. A lot of people have lost livelihoods, they've lost their lives. There's been so much disruption over the last few years that what the message from SATA was, not to make light of that situation, but realistically, if you're a business in today's world, if you're not a digital business and you've not got your eye on the ball in terms of what it means for your online presence, the way that you deliver products and services to your customers, then it's shown over the last couple of years that the main businesses that survived through the pandemic were those that were already geared up, predominantly for digital selling and digital outcomes and things like that. So essentially the message was about perseverance. Right, okay, so we've got to this point now where we've talked around digital transformation for a long time. We kind of, the majority of people kind of get what that means. Maybe they don't know how to make that real for their own businesses. But now it's about perseverance. Let's just keep pushing through. Microsoft themselves have announced a whole heap of product feature upgrades, service upgrades, new services, new products that are there fundamentally to help businesses, and it's kind of in the IT pro world, it's kind of like the role to help businesses understand where those products and services can most benefit their company and how to get them configured, how to get them developed to a point and managed and maintained to be most cost effective and bring the most benefit to that business. So, to realize that return on investment, so to speak. So yeah, really insightful chat. I know I've gone off on a little bit of a ramble there, but hopefully you can kind of get that feeling now as to where we're moving to this element of we've got a lot of work to do as an industry, right across, and IT is so pervasive across every vertical, whether it's healthcare, financial services, manufacturing, retail. There are so many elements and strands to IT that, people that work in the industry, if you're an IT pro or a developer or you work in the IT space in some capacity, we've all got these thoughts of how do we help businesses realize and, glean efficiencies, realize benefits for their own businesses. So, like I say, great inspiring keynotes. Love watching Satya give those out every time at Ignite. So anyhow, moving along, Adam also reminds us that there is a cloud skills challenge going on. So if you are looking to learn new skills, which look, who isn't? There are so many strands to the industry at the moment. Which way do you want to go? Microsoft got these cloud skills challenges. They do them pretty much at every big event. It's if you go to that link, aka.ms/igniteuk/CSC, you'll see that there is, I believe, about 8 or 9 different strands, like security, AI. There's lots of different places that you can go to. And it's essentially a group of Microsoft Learn modules. If you get through those Learn modules, you can compete with your friends and family on the scoreboard there. But fundamentally, if you complete a Cloud Skills Challenge, you can earn yourself a free Microsoft voucher to go and sit that exam. So it's a great way to get a free Microsoft exam voucher, which generally are worth about £100, something like that, or something in that region. So yeah, go and get that checked out. And of course, just as a quick shout out as well, we've got South Coast Summit kicking off this week as well. They've had a few preamble bits and pieces going on yesterday and today. I know that they were doing Ignite watch parties and things like that. But fundamentally, the main event is happening tomorrow. Unfortunately, like Ignite, I couldn't get there in person. Too much going on at home and some news that will be coming out next week from my own part. So there's bits and pieces that I couldn't get there to Ignite. Equally, I would have loved to have gotten down to the South Coast Summit again. There's some fantastic community peeps down there. You can see them all travelling down across the social snow in their cars and arriving at the event. And sessions are already kicking off today as well. So, gutted I can't be there, but if you can, I believe there's some tickets still available. So if you are interested, get yourself registered, head on down. As you can see, there's a fantastic amount of speakers. There's community zone, exhibitor hall, and it's free, so what more do you want? So, like I say, go and get that checked out. It says 2 days ago, actually, yeah, I mean, that was from yesterday, this tweet. So, I believe it's starting today and full day tomorrow down in Southampton. This brings us on to probably the main part of what we're going to be talking about today, and it's the the Microsoft Ignite Book of News. This Book of News comes out every year, kind of gives us a summary of all the different announcements that Microsoft has. So before we get there, 1 second. We interrupt this episode to give a Welsh Azure user group service announcement. So let's just do that quickly before we jump into the Book of News. So yes, quick update as to the Welsh Azure user group. The next event is happening next week, 19th of October. We've got Mark Doiker coming on to talk about the quest for serverless WebSockets, an adventure with Azure functions and durable functions. Mark is a fantastic character across the community, absolutely doing some fantastic things, always giving great valuable information and helping others learn. Go and get yourselves RSVP'd. We've also got Debasis Sahar joining us to talk around Azure Cosmos DB. Yeah, like I say, it's always a pleasure to do these sessions because you kind of meet some fantastic people in the community. They give it up their time to come on and talk to us all and help us all learn a little bit more. So please do go and head over to, if you've got at Welsh Azure on Twitter, you'll find the links to these meetup events. But if you want to search for the Welsh Azure user group on Meetup, get yourselves RSVP'd and head on over. In fact, I'll actually be in a hotel room next week, so you'll see how I struggle with a laptop camera as opposed to my getup as it is at the moment. So anyway, thank you for listening. Yes, okay, so without further ado, I think we're going to jump into the nuts and bolts of what's been going on at Microsoft Ignite this year with the Azure Book of News. So yes, no elaborate backdrops there. In fact, I should probably change the... I'm going to remove the Azure bit on the title there. Primarily because... Whoa, what's going on there? Make that reach the end of the page. Yeah, primarily because there's been, as always, Ignite isn't just about Azure. Ignite covers the whole Microsoft product stack, which is fantastic. I always like to keep my hand in as best I can with the other areas of what's going on in Microsoft world. Having worked with 365 for a number of years, as a unified comms and messaging specialist, I always like to try and keep on top of those things. So what I've done, I mean, if you head on over to news.microsoft.com, you should see a link for the Ignite 2022 Book of News. Do a Google search for it. We're all good with Google. You'll see it's effectively, you can get this in PDF format as well. But fundamentally, it is a book of news. If you look at the table of contents here, you can see that we have got, I mean, I've expanded a few of the areas, but if I just quickly close some of those things down, you can see the different areas of announcements. This is covering pretty much every announcement that we've had at Ignite this year, starting with AI, Azure, business applications, Edge, industry clouds, Microsoft 365, Power Platform Security, and Windows. If I were to expand all them, you'll see there were a lot. We're into the hundreds here with announcements and new products and services. I've gone through and I've picked a few, covering predominantly the Azure kind of infrastructure space because it's kind of where I sit a lot of the time. I picked a few others, a few developer tools and DevOps announcements, as well as picking some other bits and pieces that have caught my eye. And I'm sure after today there will be more that actually reach out and catch my eye. But that's what I've done. That's what I'm hoping to quickly go through now. We've got about a dozen different announcements. So I'm going to pick on the ones that kind of, like I say, focus on the infrastructure space as well as some of the surrounding technologies that have caught my eye. So first up, Microsoft, no, we'll stick that one to the end. Bear with, apologies. Let me stick that one up there because we'll do 365 at the end. So first up, we've got, I just can't get myself in order this week. Right, infrastructure, premium SSD disk storage and Elastic SAN. Yeah, these caught my eye mainly because of the Elastic SAN announcement, actually, because, the whole ability for people to transition and use cloud storage at scale for their enterprise business has kind of been one of those scenarios that absolutely we know can be done and is done in certain circumstances. But for whatever reason, in my experiences, customers are still grabbing onto their kit in their data center, their SAN. They sweat the assets. But now, there's been some announcements. So first up, disk storage, premium SSD storage has now gone generally available. So if you do need that high IOPS type storage, premium SSD version 2 It gives Azure customers the opportunity to improve the price performance of their storage systems and optimize those costs. The new disk storage offering is ideal for apps that require high levels of performance without the need to increase the storage capacity. So you can see it's designed for performance critical workloads that consistently sub-millisecond latency, combined with that high IOPS and throughput. And it provides the most flexible and scalable general purpose block storage in the cloud. So it'll enable you as a customer to meet the ever-growing demands of production workloads like SQL Server, Oracle, MariaDB, SAP, Cassandra, MongoDB, Big Data, all of those good things. So there we go. That's, there's a few technical bits and pieces there. Provision up to 64 terabytes of storage capacity, 80,000 IOPS per second, and 1,200 megabits per second throughput on a single disk. You're talking serious throughput and speed there on disk. So that's the first thing that I guess, kind of coupled with the next announcement of Elastic SAN, makes this kind of realistic in terms of what we can get into how we can start using cloud data centers now. Elastic SAN is in public preview. Sorry, I don't know if it's public preview, but it's in preview at the minute, and it's a unique cloud-native, fully managed SAN storage area network, combining SAN-like capabilities with the benefits of being cloud-native. Elastic SAN, Azure Elastic SAN, will offer scalable, cost-effective, high-performance, and reliable storage solutions, and it can connect to a variety of Azure compute services, enable customers to seamlessly lift and shift their SAN workloads to the cloud without having to change up their provisioning or their management model. So there we go. So features include deploy, managing, and hosting workloads, bulk provisioning of block storage, simplifying volume management, and achieving higher resiliency. There's more information that can be read on the Azure blogs. But yeah, really, those caught my eye first and foremost. Moving along. Next thing, new monitoring capabilities are available now within Azure. So obviously they're designed to help customers modernize their environments and optimize costs, but few little monitoring updates. We've got predictive auto scale for virtual machine scale sets, and it's now gone GA. So users can leverage machine learning to manage the scale of their AV, a virtual monitor manager. Azure Virtual Machine Scale Sets resources by forecasting the overall CPU load and ensuring that scale out occurs in time to meet that demand. The Azure Monitor Log update to enable cost optimization has now gone GA. And there are a few Azure Monitoration updates. So AMA, the Azure Monitor agent, is that agent that goes on, lots of different scenarios, VMs, and things like that, but it can support lots of different policies. So we know that the Monitor agent provides secure, cost-effective, and simplified way to collect telemetry data from user resources, and it replaces that log analytics agent. So if you are using MMA or OMS agents, the Monitor agent, the AMA agent, replaces all of those legacy agents. So check that out. There's an Azure Migration tool that's available. So it provides guidance and support to migrate from those legacy agents to the new one. And there's support now for Windows 10 11 devices, and it's generally available using the Windows Client Installer, which is cool. And finally, there's a recommended alerts rule now in preview. So with Azure Kubernetes Service and Log Analytics Workspace, users will be able to set up Azure Monitor alerts with the new rule recommendations, which is cool. Next up, some networking features. So Azure Domain Name System DNS Private Resolver is now generally available within Azure, and it provides highly available DevOps-friendly service, a simple, zero-maintenance, reliable, and secure DNS service to resolve and conditionally forward any DNS queries from a virtual network on-premise and to other target DNS servers without the need to create and manage a custom DNS solution. So this will make customers' DNS infrastructure work secure, privately and seamlessly across on-prem networks, and enable key hybrid networking scenarios. So for those of you that may not come across that before, before it was a case of having to stand up, if you had your own private DNS that you need to host for an enterprise network for things like that, typically they were integrated with Active Directory. You would stand up a domain controller or maybe even a standalone DNS server in Azure. So that is now potentially gone by the wayside. Maybe not so much the fact that you might still need to stand up domain controllers. Anyway, not sure how that will work out, whether or not we would yeah, maybe I need to read in a little bit about that, because if you stand up a domain controller, would you have integrated DNS? Maybe, maybe not. You know, there's pros and cons and ways around it. But anyway, there's a private resolver available for us now in networking. The other thing is public multi-access edge compute, so it allows enterprises and developers to deliver, innovate, high-performance, low-latency apps using operators' public 5G networks. Azure Public MEC is available with AT&T in Atlanta and Dallas, the customer office in Munich, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, yeah, private access edge compute. Absolutely. I've been fortunate to have a little bit of an insight to that using Azure Edge devices and, you know, sort of the Nokia Ericsson RANs, so radio access network device or devices software that runs containerized on an edge device to kind of bring those radio access, those RANs closer to the logic potentially that's going to be, you know, streaming off those RANs. So, yeah, cool to see that is now in generally available as well. So great work, Microsoft. Yes, expanding hybrid use benefits. So yeah, again, this is a bit more licensee and commercial speaking, but Microsoft have now expanded that hybrid use. If you remember, if you were on an enterprise agreement or some form of you know, license model at the moment that you had for you know, your Windows Server licenses, you could tick a checkbox, spin up a VM, and, you know, not have to pay for the OS side of your Azure VM. So that's been expanded now. So it enables software assurance customers to reduce costs. Yeah. With the new hybrid benefit for Azure Kubernetes service and Azure Stack HCI, customers can run AKS on Windows Server and Azure Stack HCI at no additional costs with Windows Software Assurance and Cloud Solutions Provider subscription. So if you do have an SA, you can run those workloads, as it said there, on Azure Stack HCI. So with this, customers can deploy and manage containerized Linux and Windows apps from cloud to edge with a consistent managed Kubernetes service. Absolutely. And you can also get an Azure Stack HCI at no additional cost with Windows Server Data Center SA. Customers can modernize their existing data center and edge infrastructure to run their VM and container-based workloads on modern infrastructure with industry-leading practice performance and built-in connectivity to Azure. Absolutely. So there we go. So that is the expansion of Azure hybrid benefit. You know, great, especially if you are looking today at potentially introducing some hyper-converged infrastructure. You know, you want to bring those workloads closer to edge. Then that's a great bit of news for you guys. I just spotted this now down here. Windows Admin Center now generally available in the Azure portal. Yeah, allows customers to configure, troubleshoot, and performance. So yeah, Windows Admin Center was released a little while back now, actually, on server. They've made that available in the portal as well, so you can use Windows Admin Center. It's a great feature, great utility for, you know, not having to jump into multiple VMs. You can do it all from the Windows Admin Center portal now. So go and check that out as well. Okay, next up, we have got Azure Savings Plan for Compute. There's new pricing out there now for how you consume compute power. So it's going to be available later this month, but it'll allow customers to save across select compute services globally by committing to spend a fixed hourly amount. So, for example, $5 an hour for 1 to 3 years. So if you fix an amount that you're going to spend per hour, it'll allow you to reduce your costs. So as customers use select compute services around the world, their usage is covered by the plan, reduced prices, helping them get more value from their cloud budget. Okay, so this is a little bit like reserved instances, but now on the actual fixed amount. So you can do this for 1 or 3 years. They'll be billed, you know, as a customer, you'll be billed at regular pay-as-you-go prices with savings automatically applied across compute usage globally. You'll continue to save even as your usage needs change over time. This plan lets you as a customer increase the value of your cloud budget, retain financial control, and optimize costs amid increasing cloud spends to help you do more with less. There we go. So new commercial models being released now as well from an Ignite. Okay, moving into a little bit more of the developer slash kind of Teamsy developer voice, Azure Community. You'd hear me talk about Azure Communication Services a few times now. Now, essentially, you know, there's some demo bits and pieces you can do with it, but it's It's SDKs, APIs that you can use to build your own applications on top of Azure Communication Services, which is effectively giving you access to things like Teams, voice, PSTN calling, all of that good stuff. So there's been some announcements around call automation using ACS. So there's a new set of APIs. They're going to be in preview out next month, which is going to help developers build server-based intelligent calling workflows. So this new feature will help developers steer and control PSTNs, public switch telephone networks, or VoIP calls within their apps. From daily appointment bookings and order updates to complex customer outreach for marketing and customer services. Call automation with Azure Communication Services simplifies the delivery of personalized customer interaction. Yeah, that's pretty cool then. So I'm not quite sure that there's in fact, I'm going to click the link. So just to try and understand, see if there's any quick points there to notice. So augmenting customer services, click to call on web and mobile to embed a call directly into your web and mobile apps to reduce telephony spend and complexity. Simple voice workflows, so set up automated callbacks, number masking or redirect workflows. So there we go, those kind of things. Voice reminders and alerts. You can see there's a whole bunch of application that you can do using ACS in your own app, in your own web mobile applications. So yeah, that's cool to see. Keep up the great work there. Next up, so yeah, Edge Workspaces. So looking at the browser now, so there's been some developments. There's been a number of developments on Edge actually, and this one caught my eye purely because we've got this concept now of Edge Workspaces. It's in preview at the moment, and it's a shared set of browser tabs that will allow a group of users to view the same websites as you know as latest working files and all kept in one place. So, for example, let's say a new member of the team has been brought onto an existing project. Instead of overwhelming them with links and files over email, the team can share one link to their Microsoft Edge workspace, which has all their relevant files and links open as browser tabs. As the team works together, tabs are updated in real time so everyone stays on the same page. So we can join the preview by clicking on that link. In fact, I might join that preview and have a quick look at it. But that's a great little announcement there. So rather than having to, like you say, bombard new starters or whoever it is with emails full of links, drop it all in an Edge workplace, workspace rather. And yeah, you can work on it collaboratively. Okay, confidential. So onto the security side a little bit now. Confidential compute. There's some more options that have been announced now. So confidential virtual machine node pools for Azure Kubernetes services. So now we can use confidential compute. Effectively when you need those secured, encrypted services, right at the hardware level to make sure that any processes or services or data and information that passes through a compute node is effectively secure and kept confidential, hence the name of confidential compute. So basically we can now run virtual machines as node pools for Kubernetes services. We've got some AVD, so Azure Virtual Desktop has now got the ability to run confidential VMs. And just reading through this, it's now in preview. Microsoft AVD users will be able to choose a confidential compute VM for their desktop virtualization experience. So the capability ensures that workloads running on a user's virtual desktop are encrypted in memory and can protect data in use. These desktops are powered by the latest 3rd Gen AMD EPYC processors with SUV-SMP technology, which supports hardware-based encryption and uses encryption keys generated by a dedicated secure processor inside the AMD CPU. We can also use confidential VMs for SQL Server running on Azure virtual machines. Is now GA. Guest attestation for AMD confidential virtual machines. And that's it. So yeah, so there's some really good feature enhancements. I've personally not done a whole heap with confidential compute, but it's great to see now some of the applications that we can start to bring it into and that Microsoft have made it available for. Sticking with security, Microsoft Entra Identity Governance has now gone into preview. That's going to help organizations ensure that the right people have the right access to the right resources at the right time. There's lots of word right in there. So the release will deliver a comprehensive identity governance product for both on-prem and cloud-based user directories. Microsoft Entra Identity Governance will help organizations simplify operations, support regulatory compliance, and consolidate multiple identity point solutions. So just scanning down, additional announcements for Entra include workload identities, what they say in there, an identity and access management solution that manages and secures identities for digital workloads. Customers can create risk-based policies with conditional access. Okay, detect and respond to compromised workload identities with identity protection and perform access reviews. Okay, so yeah, I guess it's being able to kick off those access reviews from a governance portal or under certain circumstances, which is cool. Certificate-based authentication is a key multi-factor authentication method that meets the US executive order on cybersecurity, is now in preview. And we've got conditional access authentication strengths, which allow admins to require specific authentication methods based on the resource. So when authentication strengths, with authentication strengths, admins can use the right multi-factor authentication for the right resource, like a phishing-resistant MFA for the most critical resources. Okay, but it's good to see, again, some great announcements and moves forward with security products. And there's a whole heap of security announcements as well that you might want to go and take a look at. Another one, right, okay, so into the world of Power Platform now. So one that kind of caught my eye was Power Automators introduced a new way to kind of automate using natural language and artificial intelligence. So using natural language now, if you remember, Power BI kind of introduced this a little while back where you could kind of carve up your data and display and visualize data in a way using natural language. They've moved that into Power Automate now as well, so we can naturally start to type things and have Power Automate produce workflows, using AI to kind of interact and automate certain types of workflow. We're starting to see this technology in things like GitHub Copilot, where you've got that AI-driven pair programming. It's moving into Power Automate as well. So take a look at that. That caught my eye. I'm going to take a little bit deeper look at that at some point, no doubt. And I've got hiccups now as well. Microsoft Teams, whole heap of announcements around Microsoft Teams, as you might expect, that collaboration environment for everybody essentially. But one thing that caught my eye, Meta, Mesh, anything around that virtual reality, mixed reality kind of arena. Mesh avatars are now available for Teams meetings. They're in private preview, so that whole concept of, if you join a meeting, if not feeling that you want to turn your camera on, you can now say it's in preview at the moment, but you now can set up your own avatar. So your camera will still track you and your movements, your head movements, and when you speak or use your hands. And rather than it being your image in the meeting, it will be represented by an avatar. So you can kind of have your avatar, so it feels like you are in the meeting for other people, but at the same time, it's not your presence, if that makes sense. So it's one step closer to the whole meta thing that's going on at the moment. So let's just have a quick read. So once a person avatar is created, it can be used in a Teams meeting by selecting the option from the effects and avatars menu prior to joining the meeting. Mesh avatars are available in the standard Teams meeting experience for private preview customers. Organizations interested in trying out avatars can sign up on the Teams website. So it's not at the moment, it is in preview, but that's coming. Microsoft Places. I don't believe this is coming for a little while, into next year potentially. But really interesting concept, really, if you check out the keynote, I believe Satya talks about this in the keynote a little bit, but the whole thing around, we're trying to get back to kind of some in-place work. We know that businesses are, in some instances, pressurizing employees to move back to a bricks and mortar location of work rather than being remote or working from home. Not every business is doing it, and certainly, not everybody is being forced, but encouraged is probably the right word. Mainly because, I don't know, I suppose from, there's a cynical view and there's a productive view, isn't there? But, for those businesses that have invested highly in real estate, then, of course, why wouldn't they want that being utilized for the benefit of the company? And of course, let's not forget that actually meeting people in person, although we haven't had a lot of it over the last couple of years, it helps on a number of levels. Psychologically, it helps with their own well-being, with getting out and about and meeting and speaking to actual real people. So it's not a bad thing, I don't think. It's like anything. I'm sure we're not going to get back to, you know, well, hopefully, I say for my own benefit, having to be in an office location on a daily basis. Guess it depends on your job, but the point is, this Microsoft Places now is really kind of taken. How do we know when our colleagues are going to be at specific locations? And it's kind of looking at the Microsoft Graph and knowing where people are having meetings, bringing that together and surfacing it for everybody to kind of be able to collaborate and be at the same place with colleagues at the same time. For others to know where people are going to be and where they're going to be located. Are they going to be working from home? Are they going to be working from a particular office building? So you can see there, the Microsoft Places app is going to be coming fairly soon. It's going to provide like a dashboard view of which days people on the team or the collaboration network will be in an office. A presence that will indicate people's physical location in office, remote or mobile, which we kind of have had, but I guess we can override that. That's the point. Don't know what that's going to be like for Places. I'm sure the same. The ability to see the workspaces other users have booked, so someone can book one nearby, and insights and guidance on commuting and passing time, plus the ability to automatically schedule travel time, wayfinding to the office location, a modernized conference room booking, and technology to allow everybody to be a first class participant, and so on. So it's a great initiative there, Microsoft Places. So look out for that. That's cool. Microsoft Teams meetings have available natively on certified Cisco meeting devices. Okay, I can't say I'm surprised by that. Long time coming, great announcement, about time. The amount of meetings I've been in where it's been a bun fight between Microsoft Teams and Cisco, and you know which side my bread is buttered. I'm very much on the Microsoft camp, and it's great to see that Cisco have finally started to do this natively, because I think it's the writing on the wall. I think they now realize and can see that Teams isn't necessarily going anywhere. So it's great to see that the announcement of Cisco devices incorporating Teams natively into their devices, so you can enable customers. It enables customers to configure Teams meetings as a default experience. So initially, 6 of Cisco's most popular meeting devices and 3 peripherals will be certified for Teams meetings, and more to come. The first wave of devices expected to be certified by early 2023 include the Cisco board, the Pro 55 and 75 inch, the Cisco Room Bar and Cisco Room Kit Pro, which span those small to large meeting room spaces, and then the first peripheral, the Cisco Desk Cam 4K, is an intelligent USB webcam that will be available by the end of October. While the default user experience on these devices will be Microsoft Teams Rooms, the devices will continue to support joining WebEx meetings, as you'd imagine. And all certified Cisco devices will be manageable in the new Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal. So Cisco will also connect the devices to the Cisco Cloud Control Hub as an optional value add, through which Cisco provides its own device management experiences. Great news, great to see. Okay, moving on. Again, this caught my eye. New app that's going to be part of the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, if you like. Microsoft Designer. Again, not sure when it's coming out, but it's. I'm going to play this little video, but it's effectively an AI generated component that can. I'll just turn that noise off there. I'm sure it's a little bit loud. Actually, it's not coming through. You can't hear that anyway, can you? No, you can't. I can just hear it comes from my headphones. Basically, you can see there in this example, it's people can type in real time, natural language, the kind of image that they want to see, and some of the text maybe that goes around that for kind of their own business marketing strategies, those social media posts, things like that, and it's all generated at the back end. So if you want a pink cake with cherries on top, it will generate that image for you. So really cool. Can't wait for that to come out. Certainly going to give that one a go. So that was a great announcement as well that caught my eye. Coming to the end now, again, another app, Microsoft Syntax, a new set of content apps and services that use AI to index and organize large quantities of unstructured content that can be easily searched and analyzed. Syntax can automate content-based workflows, so on and so forth. Search capabilities make it easier for people to navigate and discover content. So other syntax features include management and protection of content across the full life cycle. So in other words, if you're sharing things out, or people in your business are sharing things out to individual users, externally, internally, there's this worry, I guess, at times that you forget, right, who's got access to what. But with syntax, you can kind of have a view of that. You can make changes in the syntax portal to say, right, okay, I'll, withdraw that access. And again, you can kind of manage that, and you can ensure that you've got the relevant bits of data and information protected as you need it to. Business app integrations to bring 365 content to the line of business systems like Dynamics 365. Containers that developers store critical content, so it moves over to containers as well. And there are scenario accelerators like contract management and accounts payable. Syntax features will be beginning to roll out and continue to roll out from early 2023. So again, there's more information. If you go to the book of news, there's more information to read that. But that's another announcement. And the final one, there's a new Microsoft 365 web app for Windows and mobile. So if you're anything like me, you use OneDrive for your document shares across your devices. I use individual applications, so this will be interesting now. So there is an Office 365 app out already, but there's a new Microsoft 365 that will help provide innovative experiences to create new documents, access files and contents, discover, launch, and pin all apps and tools, get recommendations on work, and perform quick actions or common quick actions that can kind of feed into that collaboration piece in work. There's 7 new features that are going to enhance the experience, including a feed, a way to keep up with your work, an apps module that's been redesigned interface to access any 365 app and related third-party apps, and tagging, a new intuitive way for users to organize their work independent of where the files are stored. So there we go. Let's head back on over. Okay, bit of a bumper episode for you this week. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope it's been of interest. Go and check out that Azure Microsoft Ignite book of news. Give yourself a Google search and get that found. Loads of announcements. Like I say, I'm going to jump on board now with some more stuff. We've really gone, 40 odd minutes now. This is a long episode this week. If you've managed to stick around to the end, stay tuned for next week's episode. I'm going to be recording that one fairly soon to go out next week. Some interesting news coming up. So, for now, thank you so much for watching. Look, please do have a great weekend, whatever you're up to. And, I'll catch you all next week. Bye for now.